The Los Angeles Dodgers have never been an organization that does things halfway. From the moment Andrew Friedman took the reins as team president, every decision, every roster move, every clubhouse policy, every strategic gamble, has been made with one singular goal in mind: winning at the highest level possible. No sentiment. No favoritism. No exceptions. The Dodgers don't just build teams. They build machines. And machines don't feel. They perform. But what happens when the machine produces a decision so shocking, so unexpected, that even the most seasoned baseball veterans are left speechless? That moment arrived this week, and the entire baseball world is still trying to process it. In a statement that sent shockwaves through MLB clubhouses from coast to coast, Dodgers general manager Brandon Gomez made it official. Shohei Ohtani, the two-way superstar, the $700 million man, the face of modern baseball, will take the mound as a starting pitcher against the Seattle Mariners. And behind the plate, receiving every single pitch, will not be the veteran Will Smith. It will be Ben Rortvedt. The announcement landed like a thunderclap on a clear afternoon. Within minutes, the Dodgers' official channels were flooded. Fans refreshed their feeds in disbelief. Sports journalists abandoned their scheduled segments and went live immediately. Former players picked up their phones and started calling each other. Because everyone in baseball understood what this meant, and everyone had a different opinion about whether it was genius or madness. Gomez, speaking in a composed and deliberate tone at a press briefing, offered little in the way of emotion but everything in the way of conviction. He said the organization had evaluated every available factor: Ohtani's current arm strength, his recovery timeline, his mechanical consistency, and his mental readiness. The decision, he emphasized, was not made overnight. It was the result of weeks of careful observation, internal discussion, and direct communication with the coaching staff. He paused for a moment before adding one final sentence that silenced the room. "We believe Shohei is ready. And we believe Ben gives us the best chance to execute the game plan we have in place." No elaboration. No further questions entertained. The press briefing ended as quickly as it had begun. But behind that clean, polished public announcement, something far more turbulent was unfolding inside the walls of Dodger Stadium. Those who were present at the Dodgers' closed pitching practice session 2 days prior described the atmosphere as unlike anything they had witnessed in years. Ohtani, characteristically focused and silent, had taken the mound for what was supposed to be a routine bullpen session. Rortvedt crouched behind the plate. The coaching staff stood nearby with clipboards and radar guns. What followed was not routine. Ohtani's velocity was sharp. His splitter was breaking late and heavy. His command was precise, almost surgical. By all measurable standards, it was an impressive session. But it was the moment between pitches, a quiet, almost imperceptible exchange between Ohtani and Rortvedt, that lit the fuse. Freddie Freeman, who had been watching the session from behind the dugout fence, suddenly stepped forward. His jaw was tight. His eyes were fixed on Ohtani. Those standing nearby noticed immediately that something had shifted in the first baseman's expression. The calm, composed leader of the clubhouse had been replaced by someone visibly disturbed. Freeman walked onto the field without being invited. The session stopped. Every eye in that practice facility turned toward Freeman as he approached the mound with deliberate, heavy steps. He said nothing at first. He simply looked at Ohtani, the kind of look that carries an entire conversation without a single word being spoken. Then, in a voice low enough that only those closest could hear, Freeman spoke directly. "This isn't the right time. And you know it." Ohtani held Freeman's gaze without flinching. He did not respond. He did not move. He simply stood on the mound, ball in hand, expression unreadable, the same composure he brings to every at-bat, every press conference, every moment of pressure that would shatter a lesser competitor. That silence, to Freeman, was its own kind of answer. And it was not the answer Freeman was looking for. What happened next stunned everyone present. Freeman turned to the coaching staff and, with the full authority of a veteran leader who has earned every ounce of his respect in this clubhouse, made his position unmistakably clear. He told them the session needed to end. Not tomorrow. Not after a few more pitches. Now. Then he turned, walked back toward the dugout, and did not look back. The session ended. Ohtani remained on the mound for a long moment after everyone began to disperse. He stared toward home plate, where Rortvedt was quietly gathering his gear. No one spoke to him. No one approached. The only sound was the distant hum of the stadium ventilation system and the soft scrape of cleats on the infield dirt. Inside the clubhouse, the tension did not dissolve. It settled. Veterans exchanged glances. Younger players kept their heads down and their mouths shut. The coaching staff moved carefully, speaking in low tones, choosing every word with precision. Because everyone understood that what had just happened was not simply a disagreement about a pitching session. It was a visible crack in the foundation of a team that prides itself on unity, professionalism, and an unspoken code of mutual respect. Freeman is not a man who loses his composure without reason. In his years as a Dodger, he has been the emotional anchor of this clubhouse, the player others turn to when the season gets long and the pressure gets heavy. When Freeman speaks, the room listens. When Freeman acts, the room pays attention. So when Freeman walked onto that field and shut down Ohtani's session, no one in that building dismissed it as a small thing. Some believed Freeman was protecting Ohtani, that the veteran first baseman saw something in the mechanics or the effort level that concerned him, something the radar guns and clipboards couldn't measure. Others believed Freeman was drawing a line, reminding the organization and everyone in that building that experience and leadership still mean something, that decisions of this magnitude cannot be made in a vacuum. A few, speaking privately and only under the condition of anonymity, suggested the friction ran deeper. That this was not the first disagreement between Ohtani's camp and the team's veteran core about how his return to pitching was being managed. No one was willing to say it loudly. But everyone was thinking it. And then, as if the week had not already delivered enough drama, the Dodgers made another announcement that nobody saw coming. A former teammate of Ohtani, a player who had shared a clubhouse with him during one of the most memorable chapters of his career, had officially signed with Los Angeles. The contract, notable not for its financial terms but for the symbolism it carried, was worth exactly $2. A minimum deal. A veteran's bargain. A quiet, understated move that carried enormous emotional weight. The player arrived at Dodger Stadium on a Tuesday afternoon, duffel bag over one shoulder, face unreadable behind a pair of sunglasses. The front office staff greeted him professionally and efficiently. This is the Dodgers, after all, and everything here runs on schedule. He was walked through the facility, introduced to the support staff, shown to his locker. And then came the moment everyone had been waiting for. Ohtani was in the weight room when his former teammate walked through the door. Those present described the moment as charged, the kind of silence that only exists between two people who share a history that cannot be summarized in a highlight reel or a statistics column. Ohtani looked up. His former teammate stopped. For a long moment, neither man spoke. The weight room, usually filled with the rhythmic clang of equipment and the low pulse of background music, felt impossibly still. Then Ohtani stood, crossed the room slowly, and extended his hand. What passed between them in that handshake, in that brief, private exchange of words that no microphone captured and no camera recorded, remains known only to the two men who were there. But those who witnessed it from across the room said the body language told a story of its own. There was recognition. There was weight. And there was, perhaps, something that looked very much like relief. By evening, the story had exploded across every major sports platform. Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube were overtaken by clips, reactions, and frame-by-frame breakdowns of the pitching session. Former MLB managers appeared on television panels, debating Freeman's decision to intervene. Baseball analysts argued about Rortvedt's selection as Ohtani's catcher, questioning whether the chemistry between pitcher and catcher had been sufficiently tested under real game conditions. And somewhere in the middle of all of it, the question that no one could answer, the question that was being asked in barbershops and sports bars and comment sections from Los Angeles to Tokyo, was the simplest one of all. Is Ohtani truly ready? Not physically. Not mechanically. Those questions had been addressed, measured, and answered to the organization's satisfaction. The question being asked was deeper than that. It was about the weight a pitcher carries when he steps onto a major league mound after everything Ohtani has been through. The surgeries. The recovery. The pressure of a contract that redefined what a baseball player could be worth. The expectation of an entire nation watching from across an ocean. Can one man carry all of that, and still locate a splitter on the outside corner in the 7th inning of a game that matters? Freeman seemed to think the answer, at least right now, was not yet. Gomez and the organization had decided otherwise. And Ohtani himself? He had said nothing. He had answered no questions, given no interviews, offered no public statement. He had simply shown up, taken the mound, thrown his pitches, and absorbed the chaos around him with the same unnerving calm that has defined him since the day he arrived in America. Now, as the Dodgers prepare to face the Mariners, the baseball world is not watching the standings. It is not watching the pitching matchups or the lineup cards. It is watching one man walk from the dugout to the mound, watching the crowd rise to its feet, watching Ben Rortvedt crouch behind the plate and give the first sign. It is watching to see what Shohei Ohtani does next. Because in a season full of noise, full of decisions and debates and clashing personalities and quiet power struggles, the only answer that will ever truly matter is the one delivered at 97 miles per hour, with late movement, on the outside corner. Everything else is just waiting. And right now, all of baseball is holding its breath.